I had someone on TikTok ask me if I'd shared the story of my girlfriend that was murdered when she was 16 and I was 16, Linda. So what I'll say before I start is that I only get 3 minutes to share on Instagram, and that certainly doesn't give enough time permitted to allow to speak to someone as beautiful as Linda. I struggle talking about her story. There's a lot of guilt, a lot of hurt, a lot of anger around her death and her life. But yeah, she was murdered in 1984. So I'll share what I can. And if you don't get the rest of it, go to my YouTube page, Tiger for Life, which has got 3 6s. Just go into my bio on Insta or whatever app you're watching this on, and go to Linktree and hit YouTube at the top, the little icon, and that'll take you to it. I'll upload it on TikTok, Tiger for Life 66. It's with a 4, Tiger for Life 66. I first met Linda in 1982. Nearing the end of 82 at King's Cross train station, and she was with one of her friends coming through, and I was with one of my mates. And I remember saying to my mate, I said, "Oh, look, check this out, there's 2 girls coming through the turnstile." When I first met her, they were going to a tobacconist to get lighter fluid, and I didn't know what that was or what they were doing, and it was only the one time I ever participated in that, and they never did it again either, you know. But they started hanging around me very quickly. Like me, they were runaways. I'd run away from home. King's Cross was the magnet back then for children running away from home. The hot spots like Manly, Town Hall, you know, Dodgem City, or that Coney Island kind of thing in Manly. But King's Cross was the place where most kids would go. I was living with a predator, you know. That's kind of how King's Cross was working back then. A whole lot of us kids, about 20 of us, were living in this house with a guy named David Willett. He was from Manly. He owned an SCX shop in King's Cross and worked for Bob, Gentleman Bob. Yeah, I went out with her. Linda was my first girlfriend, my first everything, really. Everything that you do first with a girl, I did with Linda. I fucking loved that girl, man. She was fucking someone really special. She had beautiful jet black hair, big, beautiful brown eyes, and she was energetic. She was a leader. Everybody followed her, and kind of, for the first time in my life, everyone followed me. I've gone from being a kid that nobody knew or got on with to being the loudest kid on the street, really. And everyone kind of followed me, and that were male, and our little group, we were kind of both leaders in that sense, I guess. We moved into the Refuge. If you know about the Refuge, it was set up by a children's magistrate named Rob Blackmore, Prime Minister named Bob Hawke, and a predator named Simon Davies. Had 5 predators working on board, Simon being one of that 5. Richard West, Harry Godolphin, Paul Jetman Jones, and a woman named Annie Crow. I'm missing someone, Paul Jones, I can't remember who I said. I've had most of those men convicted. Nearing the end of it, some other kids started to come around and hang around our crew, older than us, that were using H, and Linda started fucking around with H. I started hanging around another girl named Marlene. I was a breakdancer. But the Refuge got shut in 1983, August 1983, I think it was. And what ends up happening in 1983 is we all get put into Bajura, which is an institution that was actually run by the very judge that founded the Refuge, again, Blackmore. I was released and then arrested 2 days later for an assault and robbery I didn't fucking do, put into Minda. I got let out and placed into the custody of my primary abuser, and Linda was kept into Minda. If you read the paper, it's a story about boys break into Bajura to break people out, and we got them all out for a short period of time. And then what ends up happening is I go to a dance competition in South Australia, right? And I'm running a group. I run a group in Sydney called Megazoids. Over there it's called Electrical Connection, and I win this dance competition. And what happens is I come out of the dance competition and I'm confronted by one of the other kids from the Refuge, John Chapman, and he says, Linda's been murdered. So the story relayed to me was there was a girl named Sunny. Sunny was approached by 2 men who said, find a young twist and twirl, find a young girl that we can get on with and we'll pay her in H, right? So that's what happened. She takes our beautiful Linda to these fucking grubs. They give her H and she drops. Rather than getting instant help for her, they put her to bed. Like, she'll sleep it off. Like, just fucking morons. Absolute fucking maggots. It crushed my very soul, man, her death. What ends up happening is these 2 men are actually arrested and charged with numerous charges. They're actually found guilty, convicted, got 20 years in prison. And then what happened is they appeal, and they go before a judge named Judge Yeldon If you Google Judge Yeldon, you'll find out all you need to know about that piece of fucking shit. He was a predator, preyed on children in Museum and Wynyard train station, in between being a fucking Supreme Court judge. Go figure that fucking shit, right? The police knew he was doing it, but he was compromised, so that meant that they could extort him for huge amounts of money, is what they were doing. Not to mention that when they had cases before his court, they could send you little gentle reminders of, we know what you do, bro, we better get a favourable result. And that's exactly what happened. From my perspective, every fucking case that ever went before Judge Yeldon, especially anything to do with that around fucking King's Cross Police or abuse of children, should have been retried. But it wasn't. These men were released on appeal in front of this fucking maggot judge. When I hitchhiked back from South Australia to try and go and see her funeral, I was arrested for carrying a pair of nunchuckers and kept in the cells for 2 weeks and missed her funeral. And the truth of that was, I was so overwhelmed. It's about where I start using myself, the Persian rugs. But I never could go to her grave. I just couldn't fucking do it. In fact, I only went there about the first time, about a year and a half ago. It was the first time I actually went to her grave, maybe a year ago, to see Linda. I never was able to tell her story with breaking down, falling apart. And if you read my book, it literally says at the start of it, this book is dedicated to the beautiful Linda Marie Kirby. Linda's just one of many kids who died on the streets of the Cross. And I've reached out to their families, or they've reached out to me, really. Linda's brother and his daughter met up with me for dinner a few months ago, and we sat down and were able to talk about the beautiful Linda. I just had Bam Bam's sister, another girl who died in the Cross, very young, in the Pink Pussycat, reach out to me as well. What I want to do is try and let the people know who were their actual family, that the people on the streets of the Cross actually fucking loved and cared about each other. Like, you know, yeah, we were children running around in a place far more dangerous than any of us understood. You know, I still recall playing chasings, and I remember someone saying to me, what, you're playing chasings at 16? Yeah, we fucking were. We ran up and down the main street, dodging in and out of cars. The guy that used to play the harmonica out the front of the snooker room, you might have seen him on Saturday, the song Saturday Night with Jimmy Barnes. He used to have my nickname written across the front of his saucepan. And I asked him why he had that there, and he said, oh, you were like, every time you walked down the street, there was 50 kids coming behind you making heaps of noise. King's Cross in the early 80s, late 70s was fucking littered. And I mean littered with fucking children. But to balance that, it was also littered with fucking predators. See, how it worked was simple. The children were a fucking commodity. Everybody came to King's Cross, and I'm talking about the rich, the fucking famous, the fucking high profile, and the fucking parents, mum, you know, daddies, fathers with fucking children the same fucking age would come to King's Cross and buy children. What would then happen was that money the children would give to the people selling the Persian rugs, who would then bump it up to the fucking main players, which was the Johnny Hoppers and their fucking Robert Sangsters, or what they call themselves, gangsters. I fucking laugh when I hear themselves call them gangsters. I mean, it's easy to be a fucking gangster when you're protected by the colour blue, right? You know, that's not a fucking gangster. That's a fucking dog. Anyway, I shouldn't say that, but I feel what I feel. I say what I say, and I mean what I mean. And in my opinion, most of them were fucking mutts. I love Linda with all my heart, man. I still love her to this day. And I've only had 5 partners in my life, and she was one of them, and one of the most special ones. You know, apart from obviously the person who I had all my children with, and, you know, was with a long, long time. But anyway, that's as much as I have really to share about Linda without getting upset. You know, she used to call me Vincent, right? And you know the song Starry, Starry Night? She used to sit on my lap, and she used to say to me all the time, the world doesn't see you the way I see you, Glenn. And this world's not, whatever the word says, this world's not good enough for you. I can't even remember the lines now. But every time I hear that song, I fucking have to turn it off, or I sit and listen to it on my Pat Malone, because I just remember, you know, Starry, Starry Night. I can't even remember the line. Paint your colours blue and red. There's a line in there anyway, says, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Yeah, and that's, and she used to put her nose on my nose. It was like, you know what it's like. Every person here that watches this has had a first love. That was my first love, you know, and I don't even know if it's the same love you have when you eventually get married and have kids. It's not. It's different. Your first love is your first love, right? And Linda was special. She was a leader. She was fucking full of energy. she just was someone fucking amazing. And I feel, even though that she lost her life, so grateful to have had that moment in time with her. You know, it was only about 18 months, 19 months that she was on the streets before we lost Linda. Well, yeah, she got there in 82, around about November, I think-ish. And I don't even know if that's correct. I'm just, you know, it's hard to put timelines together that long back. But I know that she died in 84 and that she was 16, just 16. I hope that helps. Linda Marie Kirby, one of the most beautiful people I ever met.